Well, a great round under there, under the conditions. I've been standing quite some time in the scorers area and listening to the players, and they were saying it's like the greens are dry, they're thirsty, it's getting a bit crusty out there.
Yeah.
The wind is protecting the course, and hence the scores are what they are.
Yeah, but look, it's playable. It's, you know, I think it's on that razor's edge between it is the National Open and they try and create that same, obviously weather permitting, they try and create that same style of golf course, as close to it as, you know, unplayable as they can get it without it being so. And I think it's right on that point. I think it's fine if you're coming from the fairway. The greens are receptive. They will pull up, but yeah, certainly I guess with these runoffs as well, with the new design, I think it's a little bit magnified, I guess, with how precise you've got to be out there. So yeah, it's tough. I'm certainly not saying it's easy, but you just got to be smart. You feel as though you're pedaling a million miles an hour, going nowhere seemingly. You don't know whether it's your ball striking that's holding you together or whether it's your short game, because you feel as though you're playing well. But then each day I've been sort of looking at my greens, and there's been a lot of shots on the fringes, a lot of little up and downs, and it's just the way the golf course is. So I think you know, if you didn't have a short game this week, you're gonna battle a little bit, but and also as well, I mean, you really got to strike it well. So it's just a bit of everything.
Do you think tomorrow you've got to be very patient around a course like this? Just kind of keep it calm.
Yeah, patience definitely, but I feel as though there's a lot of birdies out there as well. If you hit the right shots, of course, there's opportunities out there. So patience in terms of, yes, you know, there's birdies to be made, and if they're not being made, then you really got to stay patient with the fact that mentally there's some really tough holes as well that you really got to grind out and make your pars. So and getting a birdie on those holes is fairly rare. So you know that there's maybe like 7 holes out there where you've got some opportunities if you hit a good enough drive, and then outside of that, it's just pretty much hang on and just try and hit the right shots and just try and play as smart as you can.
And what would this mean to you to win tomorrow? To win?
Well, you know, it's the National Open, isn't it? So it's everyone's boyhood dream when you're growing up to win your National Open, and this is no different. Although, you know, we might not get the international players down here these days for this championship, it is a National Open, and any National Open winning is very prestigious. I was fortunate enough to win an Irish Open, which is fantastic. And yeah, look, it's every Australian in the field will be obviously hard pressed trying to vie for this one tomorrow.
Questions, please. Rod?
I've got a couple for you, but I wanted to start with, I happened to be wandering back down the 5th and stumbled across you in the left mulch under the trees there.
Yeah.
For your third, watched you hit a very good shot, and we had to keep going. Heard later, you made a 4 there. Can you just talk us through that? That was some shot that you must have got up and down from there.
Yeah. Look, that was just a classic example of what the golf course is all about. You just slightly pull, hit a great drive, slightly pull my 3-wood, catches the pines, and all of a sudden there's quite a little bit of that pine bark that's around the golf course. But again, with the overhang of the trees, had the option of either running it up or trying to play a high draw with a 54, but with that pine bark, you really got to be so precise with your ball striking. So sometimes just taking that little bit of loft off it just gives you that freedom for the strike not to be as pure. And that's all I was trying to do, was really, if it came off, great. If not, it was just going to be somewhere around the front of the green. So you just got to be, when you're out of position, which you're probably going to find yourself being a lot out there, it's about leaving in the right place and obviously just playing the smartest shots possible in order to recover or either just minimise the damage. And that's how the golf course played, and that's all I was thinking on that particular golf shot. But got lucky.
Sorry, the second thing I was going to ask is probably almost related. Everybody you ask, all players say, you're the Peter Fowler of this generation. Players go to you for sort of how the short game works. Does that really play to your advantage around a course where every player who's come in here has said exactly what you said? You should be able to shoot a good number around here, but nobody's done it yet.
Yeah.
Does that part of the game become that much more important on that sort of golf course?
Massive around here, yeah. Particularly when there's no thick rough around the greens and there's a lot of runoffs, so you know you're only missing shots by marginal amounts, but they're running a long way off as well. I know that Jeff, he had a great shot into must have been the 13th up the hill, and what looked to be 8 feet, and I turned to him and I said, mate, great shot. It was in the air, it was beautiful. But the pin was back left, and you got the tier and the ridge, that false edge that runs off the left of about 1.5 meters from the left-hand fringe, and it just, by the time I got up there, his ball was down in the gully it must have been 20 metres down the bottom of the hill. So he hasn't played the hole bad at all. He's hit 2 of the greatest golf shots probably that he's hit over the 18 holes today, and he got up and down, fortunately. But I mean, that's just typically what this golf course is all about. Particularly when it's really, really windy like this. I checked the forecast for tomorrow. The winds are the same, somewhere in the vicinity of 35 kilometres per hour. So it's going to be another test tomorrow. I'm sure they'll dry the greens out at, the same kind of moisture content. So it's just going to be tough. And yeah, look, it's my short game is renowned, no doubt about it. But I've had a lot of double chips this week, getting up and down for bogeys. I haven't been getting everything up and down. So it's just the way the golf course is. It's very tough around the greens, which I kind of like that. I like the fact that there's, you do need a little bit of mastery. The game's all about smashing at a million miles these days, and when the rough's, 6 or 5 inches up around the greens, and, you're only 6 metres away, 7 metres away if you're firing at flag. So you open up the sand wedge and flop it out of the rough just like a bunker shot, where this requires you to be very, very precise. You need the exact flight, landing on the right spot, otherwise you'll have a 15-foot putt at best if you don't. So, and that's what Australian golf is all about as well. So you look at all the sandbelt courses, same thing. And I think that's what puts Australian players in good stead for world golf, to step it up to that next level. I think they come out as complete players from short game to long game. So, and I think, we need to maintain that from an Australian's perspective.
Stoney?
But you won an Irish Open, which you get tough conditions in Ireland.
Yeah.
Tough conditions playing around Europe. Do you enjoy playing in tough conditions?
Oh, yes and no. I enjoy when I'm around the lead, that's for sure. But when it's going for you, it's good, and it's a fine line because it's about momentum. It's about keeping momentum, and you can just find yourself sometimes falling on the wrong side of it. But yeah, look, it's tough conditions. I think when it's windy and it's blustery like this, I think it's good fun. Yeah, Europe. You think we play in really bad conditions, but this would be as windy as it gets. But we play a lot of parkland courses as well, where it's a little bit more protected as well. So this is quite open. He's cleared out a lot of trees, and unlike last week in Metro, where it's seemingly the ball just wasn't being as affected because of the amount of tall gum trees that were sort of littered around the golf course, and it had a lot of protection. Where the centre of this golf course, it seemingly just sits down in a big bowl with a lot of trees taken out. So the hardest thing about these conditions, I think, is just the winds, trying to get the right wind direction, because they're swirling winds. It is a northeast wind that's blowing all day, and you try and trust that as best you can. Correct. Yeah. And you try and trust that as best you can, but when it swirls on you, which it has done numerous times today, it makes it really, really, really tricky.
I've only got one more, because being a Saturday, deadline's approaching and that sort of stuff. Compared with last year, your year this year hasn't been as great. Any reason for that?
No, it's probably just a multiple of things, but just golf being golf. It's a hard game. It's the hardest game in the world. Yeah. So no excuses. It's just you need everything to come together when you play championship golf. Quality of golf is improving, and I could perhaps go into it, but it was just a bit of everything. I just didn't play well enough. I just technically just was not sound. So I was working hard. Everything was there, but I just technically just was not as good as what I was the year previous.
Thanks, mate.